All right, here we go. This is part 2 of factoring quadratics for AP Precalc Unit 1 Lesson 2. All right, so guys, once we can factor, it's really easy, right? All we're gonna do is set each factor. Let me get the laser point out here. So we've got to set a quadratic equal to 0 first, right? That's the first thing. Move all terms to the same side, right? Simplify. So we have everything on the left, all simplified, set equal to 0. All we do is factor, and we set each individual factor equal to 0 and solve. Okay, this is called the zero product property. Let's write that. This is the zero product property, prop. And basically, if you think about it, all it means is if you have a lot of stuff multiplied together set equal to 0, that whole expression is going to be equal to 0 if any individual part is equal to 0. Okay, so that's the beauty of factoring. Right, we have factored form. If this part is equal to 0, the whole thing is. Okay, I don't really know what else to say beyond that. The hard part of this is just doing the factoring. Okay. Let's do one. Let's see. Let's do just E. Okay. So remember, we want to set the whole thing equal to 0, then factor, then solve. So for E, we'll have 5b squared minus 3. So I'm going to combine them. I'm going to move the 3 over. So that'll be 8b squared. Take this 6, subtract it from minus 2. That's minus 8b. Minus 6 is equal to 0. So now we're going to try and factor. Let's see, we've got a 2 that we can take out. So that means 2 times 4b squared minus 4b minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, now, because we have an equation, we can just divide both sides by 2. So I'm going to lose it, right? We can just set this equal to 0 because we know 2 is never equal to 0. So we can just discard it, right? So we really know that 4b squared. Oh, it's ugly. Sorry. 4b squared minus 4b minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so let's see if we can get this factored. AC is going to equal negative 12, right? That's that. And B is negative 4. So I think we want negative 6 and positive 2. So that means 4b squared plus 2b minus 6b minus 3. And that means 2b plus 1 minus 3, 2b plus 1. Okay, so 2b plus 1 times 2b minus 3 is going to equal 0. And then we set each part equal to 0. So this is going to be b is equal to negative 1 over 2. Or b is equal to positive 3 over 2. Okay, so guys, there is our answer. Super easy once we have factored form, but we got to get it in factored form. Okay, and I'm just double checking real quick that I got this right. So that's 3, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. That's 4b squared. Yeah, that's going to be negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Yeah, okay. So should be pretty easy once you're good at factoring. Okay, square rooting, right? So basically, when do we want to really most of the time use square rooting? Well, this is when there's no x term, right? If there's no x term, if there's no x term and we have an expression like this, we can just isolate x squared and then square root, right? So we're going to move the 288 over. Then we're going to divide both sides by 2. And then we're going to take the square root of both sides, which gives this. Remember, right, when we have this, if we have x squared equals a, that really means that x can be plus or minus the square root of a. Okay? And the reason is because if we take negative square root of a and we square it, it becomes positive. Yeah, something like this, right? If we already have a sort of an x inside of parentheses that's squared, but that's the only x, we can also just isolate x by getting it on one side, getting everything else on the other side, and then undoing by square rooting. So if I look at this example, we've got 2x plus 1, everything else is numbers. So we can work to get this by itself, right? Move the 72 over. Now here we can divide by 2. And now, right, we don't want to expand this out. That's going to be a nightmare. The easiest way to isolate this is to undo by square rooting and then subtract the 1. That's exactly what we do, right? The most important thing is remember this step. Once we write here that 2x plus 1 squared is equal to 36 and we square root both sides, right, it creates this. And if you're wondering, why are we putting the plus and minus on the 36? Because this was a positive to start. You're right. Really what we're doing is we're putting the plus or minus here because x could be positive, but then we're moving it over here numerically to solve for x. So it's just sort of working in a backwards way. So let's try one. Let's try this one, right? So we want to isolate this x. That's what we're trying to solve for, but it's inside of parentheses. It's not smart to square it out. So let's just say negative 3 times x plus 1 quantity squared is equal to negative 27. Right? All I did is move that over by subtracting. Then I can divide by negative 3 both sides. And that means that x plus 1 squared has to equal 9. Then that means that I'm not going to do it. I'm going to square root both sides. And that means that x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 9, which is 3. Okay, so that means that if you want to think of it like this, you could set up two different equations. X plus 1 is equal to 3. X plus 1 is equal to negative 3. So this means x is 2 or x is negative 4. Done. Okay. That's it, guys. So I know that was short, and I know that I got to get some answers here, but yeah, hopefully that's enough to get you going in class. Again, the big thing is factoring, and the method that I like and that I'm showing you guys here is this AC method. But look, if you have a method that works for you and you want to use that instead, go for it. All right, I will see you guys soon and hope this video is helpful.